Hello and welcome back to the Stationary Dev, and today we have a little bit different. Today we have a Rollerball pen review. This one kind of came to me by the way of another pen I bought. So I bought a Lamy 2000. I believe I bought it from Japan, or I bought it from something. And for whatever reason, it came with a Lamy Rollerball refill. It came with this exact one, actually, the Lamy M66 Rollerball refill. I don't know why the pen came with this one, because it was a fountain pen. But it came with a Rollerball refill, which was nice, I guess. But then I got looking like, okay, well, I need to use this refill. So what does this refill go in? And it goes, Lamy uses proprietary refills. So they usually only fit in Lamy pens. And so the refill that the pen that this refill fits in, it fits in their Tipo, it fits in their Swift, and then it fits in the Dialogue 2. We know the Dialogue 3 pretty well because that's the fountain pen version, but there's also an older, now I believe discontinued pen called the Dialogue 2 that is a rollerball that this fits into. Really interesting pen if you want to try to hunt one of those down. But I looked at the Tipos and I was about to buy one of those, but I saw a good deal on a Swift and thought I would pick that up instead. Now this one I got for a really good price. This was new old stock off of eBay. The Lamy Swift is sort of their higher end rollerball option that Lamy gets. So it is new old stock, so that explains why the box is kind of scratched up, but the pen was brand new inside, which was nice. And I got it for, let's see, $32 is what I got it for. But others you can find pretty easily on eBay or around maybe Amazon for around $35, but retails new for around $52. So it's an expensive rollerball pen. But it comes in this little kind of clear display kind of case. At least this new old stock one did, which looks pretty nice. I'll give it to him there. It's kind of a reflective, kind of a very Lamy presentation box, but it's very squeaky plastic, so I apologize ahead of time. It does give you a warning. Please take original refill from the box and insert it into the pen. The owner, or who I bought this from on eBay, actually said it's so old, plan on getting another refill because the refill that it comes with probably won't write, or it might be dried out or whatever, which I thought perfect because I have one on hand. That's exactly what I was going to use it for. But we'll see. So the pen is here. It just rests kind of in there. Here's the pen. On the back side of this, you have the refill that it comes with. And you can see this is the old refill, but it looks pretty much the same as the new one. Maybe just a slightly different, but pretty close on to the brand new rollerball refills, but you can tell it's an older version. But yeah, I opened it up. It was still sealed and everything. They come in these foil seals, so I unsealed it. And it also comes, well, the pen itself, so the Lamy Swift, came with this inserted in the pen in place of the actual pen cartridge, which I thought was kind of cool. So I kind of saved it just to show you that it came with that in there. I don't know why, but it did. And then this was the tip protector for the refill. So, and the refill hadn't been used. Like I said, I opened the package and inserted it just to see why not. And it wrote perfectly fine. So even for an old refill, it was still sealed well in the package and wrote very good. So yeah, I got the trash there to prove it. Put it back in here. Guard your ears when I do. If you're sensitive to that sort of thing. Yeah, it's a horrible noise. So that's probably going to get thrown out. And here's the pen. So the pen, this is the, I forgot what they call it, the palladium finish, maybe? But they come in a lot of colors. They do limited edition colors, kind of like they do all their other pens, their fountain pens and stuff. They do limited edition colors of this one. They have limited edition colors of the Tipo and other stuff like this. But this is sort of their highly engineered, sort of executive style rollerball pen. It is made out of metal, so mostly metal, and we'll see a little bit, but this is obviously the nose cone is metal. It's got these cutouts here after the step of the nose cone, metal knock up there at the top. You have a little bit of subtle Lamy branding there. This is not metal. Their clip is actually plastic, which kind of bothers me because it's painted to look like the metal. You could have just made it out of the metal, but maybe they didn't for some reason. And you can see that the knock is actually off center, and we'll get to why that is here in a minute. But yeah, this just unscrews here. And once again, this is a chunk of metal. There's the spring there and the refill itself. You can tell it's an old refill, but it still works perfectly fine. So I just kept the old one in there, and if it ever does give out, I still have my new one that I can just switch out in there really quick. But yeah, it's the proprietary Lamy M66 made in Germany. You can tell this one's an old one because it says West Germany. So you can tell this is new old stock, but still works perfectly fine. So I guess go old Lamy. Still works perfectly fine, even being West German. Yeah, so you do get a spring-loaded clip, which is kind of nice. You can see it there. It is pretty loose, but I guess it would do a good job holding it onto a suit or a pocket or whatever you want. The grip is interesting. Now, for how I grip pens, usually I kind of grip it around here, which as such, my finger is right on this step down. I don't know why they put a step down here. It'd be so much better if this was just smooth all the way across. It'd be a such better pen in that regard. So I knock the over designedness of it there. But even forcing myself to kind of grip it back here, it's still fine. Or if I move everything up a little bit, it's still fine. But I just find myself gravitating to here, and that's right where this giant step is, right in the grip section. I don't know why that is. That's my only real knock on the pen. But in actual use, it's not really that much of a problem. I don't write with rollerballs that often, but I do enough to where if I try to write for a long time with this one, that just annoys me, and so I end up going back to my favorite rollerball, which we'll get to. Now, why the clip looks kind of weird, it's actually kind of the perfect shape to fit this indent that's under it, and we'll see why this is off center. So when you push the knock, it's a silent knock, so you'll see there's not like a click. There's not engaged, so it's kind of hard to tell if you've actually engaged it far enough. It also doesn't feel the greatest. Like there's resistance and a little bit of grittiness, so it's not super smooth. But that's because a lot of things are going on inside. Because if you watch the clip, when you press the knock, the clip gets kind of locked down into the body of the pen. And so there's the clip, if you can't see it. It's been locked down to where it's smooth into the body of the pen, which is a really, and I guess that's why they had to move the knock over, why it's not in the center, to make room for the clip coming down into the body and folding into the body. It's kind of one of those design things that's kind of interesting, and I kind of like it because you're not restricted to holding it with the clip facing up anymore. You can hold it anyway now, and it's smooth all the way around, so where the clip is a non-factor while you're riding. So even if they force you to grip it farther back, farther up the grip, it's not a problem because the clip will never bother you. If you're this far back, the clip is never going to bother you because it's inside the pen now. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. And then when you and I guess it helps remind you too, if you go to, clip this onto something and you haven't, recessed the tip, it kind of is a reminder to, hey, unclick the, recess the tip, and then you can clip it on your suit or whatever. So you don't end up with inky accidents. And so, yeah, kind of a neat design option. It makes the actual knock not as pleasurable, but it's kind of cool because it's working a lot of, innards and stuff that make this possible. So yeah, kind of interesting. And just kind of a fun pin to have around. It's over-engineered, if you ask me. It doesn't need to be this complex or anything, and it is expensive, $50 for a rollerball, but it's well built, it's heavy, it's got metal, throughout it, it's well designed, it's got engineering to it. It is sort of an executive rollerball pen if you want that, and it looks like it holds a lot of ink, and it writes pretty well. We'll give it a test here real quick, and I'll compare it to a couple others. So let me move you down, and we'll get a comparison. So it does write pretty good, even in this West German M66 refill. So this is the Lamy Swift Rollerball. And see, gripping it that far back just kind of doesn't work for me, so I kind of default into just being on the step anyway. It is the M66 refill, black ink, and I think you can probably get it in different tip sizes. I think this is a 0.7, but it might be a 0.5, but it's not super wet and it's not super broad, which I actually really like. I give it credit for there. It works in all angles pretty much. You did see it skip there, and that's happened to me if I write with it really fast and kind of at like a upright angle where the ball is kind of at a weird angle. You can see it does skip, and that's a problem that I have had. I don't know. It doesn't happen when I write with it at a regular angle, even if I go super fast. I think it's just that super upright that sometimes pens don't like, that super upright writing angle. The ball might get, I don't know, it just kind of gets stuck or doesn't allow enough, the pressure on the ball doesn't allow enough ink to get around the ball to put down stuff. But at a normal writing angle, which it kind of forces you to take anyway if you're gripping it this far back, it's plenty wet, plenty broad, doesn't do any skipping or anything in that configuration. So I find it to be pretty good there. It's not my favorite rollerball. It does beat the pants off of, for me at least, it does beat the pants off of something like the Tornado. This is the Retro 51 Tornado, which a lot of people really, really like, and I do give it to them. They do design really well. They do marketing really well. They do really cool finishes and collaborations and stuff like that. And it should be a good pen. The refill is decent, although I've had the same problems as this refill where it'll start skipping on the wrong surface or at the wrong angle. It'll start skipping. So these use a Schmidt 8126 or 8128 or something refill. Actually, I can see. I can't write with mine because I've written it out. So this one's actually, this one is actually written dry. Well, it's a Retro 51 branded, so we're not even going to actually probably see what Schmidt refill it is. Maybe 8127? I don't know, because Retro slaps their branding all over the refill. But it's a Schmidt refill, but I haven't been super impressed with it. Maybe I'll try the thinner version when I go to buy a new refill for this one, if I go to buy a new refill for this one, because I don't really like the Retro 51 Tornado, and my main problem is the shape of it. The Tornado shape means that all of the weight of the pin is from here back, and so it is extremely back weighted. The balance point for this thing is, yeah, right under the clip there. It's like right here, which is not great for any pen. And I don't know, I guess it's not a problem for people with maybe big, super big hands, or maybe it's not a problem, but for me it's just unwieldy because all the weight is in this piece of metal right here, and it just kind of flips around. It doesn't feel good. It pulls the weight, pulls the tip off of the paper. I don't even like the refill that much, and so I've never been a fan of the Retro 51 Tornado. I think it's overhyped. I don't think it's well designed. It works fine. It gets the job done, but not for me. And so this beats that for sure. But my favorite rollerball refill, or my favorite rollerball pen, is actually this. This is the Otto Liberty. Really, I just like the refill the most. This is the Otto Liberty, and it takes, I believe that's the model number there. Otto, made in Japan. You'll see there it says ceramic. So it's a ceramic rollerball refill. This one's just a snap cap, and it's not fussy at all. It just has a matte metal grip section. It's all metal pen, kind of like a lacquered looking metal pen. So it does have the weight. It doesn't mess around with putting a step right here in the middle of the grip. And it has a really good refill. So this is the Otto ceramic rollerball. Yeah, I find it just really nice, really smooth, really controlled ink flow, which is kind of what I'm looking for in a rollerball. I don't want it to be super gushing, super bleeding out of everything. I don't want it to be super inconsistent with the angle I ride it on or anything like that. Yeah, the Otto Liberty is kind of my favorite, my go-to rollerball, because it doesn't matter, what angle I'm riding with this. It just always works, and it's thin enough to where it's not a gusher. It doesn't bleed through anything. So this one still, it doesn't take over the Liberty, and the Liberty is actually a lot cheaper than the Swift. But the Swift is a good rollerball pin if you don't mind the step, and if you like the engineering bit. If you need an executive kind of just a go-to rollerball pin and you don't have one already, maybe pick it up. If you like the the engineering aspect of it, the clip just being out of the way, it's a good pen. I wouldn't go super out of your way to get it if you're just not out to collect rollerballs or you're not a big rollerball user. I don't think you got to run out and get a $50 retail, but really around $35, $38 rollerball pen. I just did because I already had the refill, was just looking for something to put in it, and didn't like the Tornado that I had laying around my desk. And so I picked it up and been pretty pleased so far. Like I said, the only knock I have on it is that step right there and the inconsistency if I'm riding at kind of an improvised angle or anything like that. That little skipping inconsistency that can happen. But if I'm riding at a normal angle and everything, it's completely fine. Just not my favorite. And that could just be the old refill too. Maybe once I swap in the new one, that'll not be a problem anymore. Once again, I'm using a super old refill that came with the new old stock pen. But yeah, I really like the finish of it. I like the fit of it. I like the how it comes together. The refill's okay. Yeah, and it's kind of just a cool talking point, and kind of a weird pin to look if you actually get to looking at it. It's kind of a fun pin to just look at and talk about. So yeah, so that's my review of the Lamy Swift rollerball. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave those down below, and I'll get back with you there. If you've made it this far on a rollerball video, feel free to give me a like and subscribe to get more content similar to this. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.